Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Let's talk about why men have slowly opted out of the workplace and have stopped working for the most part. There's this book called Men Without Work. I don't know if you guys have read it. I'm currently reading it right now. But in the very beginning of the book, he states that from the years of 1948, between the years 1948 and 2015, men 20 and older had a drop in work rates from 85% to 68%. So a 17% decline in work rates for men 20 and older. So I'm going to talk about why this is, in my opinion. Now, it's just my opinion. And then what to do about it. So there's a few reasons for this phenomenon, I believe. Number one is the fact that jobs just obviously, you know, with inflation and everything, jobs just aren't worth, most jobs right now, unless you're certified in something specific or specialized in something that's going to give you a livable income, most jobs are just not worth it for most guys. Because, you know, you got to think about it, right? And I'm not trying to, you know, play the victim here or accept playing the victim, but it's true, right? Like it's statistically true that most jobs, if you work 40 hours at $15 an hour, you cannot afford to pay your rent and get by. So it makes sense, right? Think about it. If you're a guy, right, let's say you're in your mid-20s, you know, and I'm just, like I said, I'm explaining the mindset. I'm not justifying it, I'm just explaining it. So don't make the assumption that I'm justifying or you know, saying that it's a good idea for what these men are doing. I'm just explaining it, right? And I'm trying to bring light to the situation because it can be very confusing. But anyways, right? Let's say you're a guy, right? You're 20. Let's say you're between 20 and 30, right? Those are like the years where you should be really like trying to get your groove on, right? When it comes to your career and everything. If you know that jobs are paying between $14 and $18 an hour, right? Which they are, which is very difficult to get by on, right? Even just by yourself, right? Just by yourself, that's very difficult to get by on. Why on earth are you gonna even try? Like, I mean, I would, right? Because you know, I want more out of life. But for the average person, it's like, yo, there's no incentive. Like, what's the incentive to sit there and work for a low-ass wage, right? And granted, you know, I'm not saying these men are necessarily go-getters. A lot of them are lazy. A lot of them are brought up by parents who were lazy or single mothers or whatever the case may be. But why would you sit there and want to jump at these jobs that pay, you know, barely a livable wage? And, you know, so I see that part of the equation. So that's why I believe that's number one, right? It's like, if I can't even pay my rent, like if I can't even save a little bit at the end of every month or make any progression, like what is the point of me sitting there, you know, grunting away for 40 hours, dealing with, you know, low IQ people, dealing with a crappy boss, if at the end of the month I'm just back to 0.0, right? Like it really, you know, I don't see it, but a lot of men see it. It's like, why are you gonna sit there, right? And like I said, men are valued based off of our merit, based off of the value we bring to the world. So if you know, hey man, every week I'm working 40 hours, just to have maybe like 50 bucks at the end of the month, right? Why am I gonna kill myself and work these low wage paying jobs, right? Why would I do that? So that's number one. I just think that, you know, a lot of guys just like, you know what, it's like, why am I gonna do that if I can just barely survive? Like, it's not worth it. You know, a lot of guys would rather just like, hey man, let me just live off my parents, you know, let me just, or if I'm gonna work, you know, let me live with my parents, right? And you know, do that. But most parents want to kick their kids out once they start working, because it's like, hey man, you got to pay your own shit. So but that's another reason why it's like, hey man, if I get a job, my parents are probably going to want me to leave, so why am I going to do that, right? So that's number one. Number two is our values, I feel like, have changed over time. Like we just, you know, parents aren't necessarily bringing up their kids to be hard workers anymore. You know, it's more so along the lines of, you know, I'm not saying there aren't, you know, good parents out there that are raising, you know, great children who are, you know, contributing to society. But I also believe that a lot of parents, like, you know, a lot of men who grow up with single moms, it's like, yo, they're not being taught by their freaking single mom to be a hard worker. I mean, some, granted some, but those work values and, you know, sticking it out and moving up and, you know, trying to just be the best you can at work, that's not really taught anymore, right? It's not taught in most families. It's not taught in the school system, right? The school system teaches you a bunch of anti-survival values that I won't talk about here. You guys know what I'm talking about, but I won't discuss them here. It's another video for another time. And then your families, right? Families are just like, hey man, they just throw you into the school system, right? And then, you know, while you're in school, they're working themselves trying to keep up. So there's no like real, like there's no values being passed on to us, right, as men, as far as what it means to be a man and the connection between our work and our value that we provide, right? Because like I said, your value as a man is largely dependent on your ability to create resources and create a living, a safe living and a, you know, easy living situation for your family, a relatively easy living situation for your family, right? So that's number two. I just don't think we're necessarily being pushed with those values like we used to as much, you know, these days. As you see, you know, 1950 to 2024 is, you know, a slow decline, right? But anyways, yeah, that's number two. And then number three, with the advent of technology, we just get more, life's easier, right? So if life's easier, if we can live off of, you know, our parents, and we, you know, we have video games and everything to kind of like sedate us, and just, we can just get by, you know, a lot of humans just, or men just are content with, hey man, life's easy. I like having life being easy. And it's so weird, you know, it's hard for me to see it, but some guys are of the opinion or of the like idea that life is just better when you don't have to do anything. And I've never had it that way. You know, as a result of me being lazy, I was skinny fat, I was, you know, socially awkward, you know, not in shape, didn't have any money. Like, that doesn't sound very enticing. It doesn't sound like a very fun life. I mean, yeah, I might be enjoying my hedonism and my stress-free existence, but at the end of the day, what's the point of living if I'm just gonna sit and be lazy all the time? I might as well just be dead. You know, I have this human body, I have this human mind for a reason. I might as well, you know, really like push it to its full potential, right? But a lot of guys don't see it that way. And, you know, I don't know what it's like to come from that, you know, worldview or whatever, or have that worldview. But a lot of guys, like, it's so, I know it's hard to really believe, you know, in this kind of area on the internet, or, you know, the self-improvement area, red pill masculinity, all this, you know, self-improvement, all that stuff, right? It's so hard to like accept the idea that there are literally guys out there that enjoy life just being lazy and don't have like any like feelings about it. Like, they just think it's perfectly okay to just like not do anything, right? And I know that's hard to believe, but it's the truth for a lot of guys. And then obviously, you know, like I said, video games, porn, everything sedates us. So even if we, you know, a lot of guys, they might have drive, but they're so addicted to whatever drug of choice they indulge in that they just can't get out of that addiction, and it stifles their ability to work, you know, develop their intellectual faculties, and, you know, actually become somebody in the world, right? So that's number three. And then number four, and I think number four might be actually more important, or more yeah, just more significant than number one, is women nowadays are not, one, for the most part, marriageable, and they're not as good looking as they used to be. Guys, women, I mean, people in general in the United States and Western countries, we've got bigger in size, right? We haven't been getting any smaller over the years, right? We haven't been getting any leaner, any thinner, any sexier, right? So with the increasing rates of obesity amongst men and women, obviously women are having increased obesity rates as well. Guys are just looking around, and it's like, dude, you know, like, guys have, you know, we have a very genetic predisposition to, you know, work and create, but a lot of that comes from the desire to procreate, right? So if we're looking around, right, and we see a bunch of fat women, and we see a bunch of women who are loud and obnoxious and annoying and just, you know, want to be career women and tough and masculine, it's no wonder you see guys opting out. Because it's like, hey man, one of the most primary motivations for us is procreation, taking care of a family, taking care of our women, right? And it's like, dude, why am I gonna sit here, you know, and like I said, this is not me, I'm just speaking for this cause. It's like, why am I gonna sit here and, you know, work so hard for these mediocre women, these women who are fat, these women who are career women, who are feminists, who are annoying, who are loud, who are, you know, very egotistical, right? They have high, like overly inflated egos, right? Because of the amount of attention they get via internet, via in-person contact with other men, right? So it's like, it makes sense, you know, it really makes sense. And I'm not knocking guys, you know, I'm obviously trying to like turn the situation around so we can be men again and we can live in a better society when it comes to our relationship with women. But that's a big reason. I think that's a big reason, you know. It's like, why am I going to sit here and work for all these freaking women who are fat? And if they're not fat, like I said, they're loud, they're obnoxious, they argue, or they're so, they're flaky on dates, or they play hard to get. It's like, yo, we're just not going to deal with that. Like, a lot of guys are just like, yo, fuck it. Like, you know, if you're a guy, right, and you've had maybe, if you've gone on like 5 to 10 dates with girls, right, and it's like, yo, you've got blown out so many times. It's like, bro, like, you know, I keep, you know, I've been blown out on dates and everything, but I chose to improve, right? I chose to get better so that doesn't happen, right? But a lot of the issue in that regard is just like, basically like, yo, like, why am I gonna sit here and you know, deal with that when I don't have to? And it's like, you know, a lot of guys, you know, you see like the black pill like ideology start to really like come to the surface nowadays, come to the mainstream. Obviously I don't promote that, but like I said, a lot of guys are just like, they just accept defeat. That's really what it comes down to. So they don't work, they stay at home, they stay addicted to their video games and their porn, and they stay addicted to drinking the alcohol and whatever. And hey man, it's like, if I can live with my parents and my grandma, I'll live with my parents and my grandma as long as I can. And then when my grandma's dead, I'll live off the government and fuck it, right? So yeah, guys, I mean, you know, those are some reasons that I think those are the most prominent reasons. There may be other like minute reasons why the situation is so prevalent, or the problem is so prevalent. But I think that is a really good synopsis of like some of the main reasons why like this is a problem, or that we see the slow decline of work amongst men, you know, 20 and older, between 20 and 50, right, is a good age range. And that's what Nicholas Erbestat cites in the book. He says that prime age men, 25 to 54, that's where the biggest decline is over, you know, the past 70 years, 70 to 80 years. So that's why it's happened. And obviously, you know, like I said, you know, to come to the full circle, like, what do you do about it? You come to the realization, right? This is what to do. This is how you solve this problem. Because you can either choose one or two routes, right? You can either look at the situation like, okay, I can work or I can't, or I'm either going to work or I'm not going to work. If I don't work, right, you're going to be like these men who are fat. They have no success with women. They're living with their parents forever, right? They're in a hellish existence on this planet, right? Or you can be like, okay, you know what? I know that women are a pain in the ass. I know that, you know, inflation's crazy. I know that the world is like really shitty right now. But hey, I'm going to try to make the best out of it and overcome the odds, right? And when you come at it with that framework, when you come at it from that angle, it gives your life purpose. Because it's like, yo, there's so many, like, the way I look at life, guys, I'm going to be real, it's like, yo, like, the odds are so stacked against me, right, as a male, right? Because the world hates men, feminists, like, you know, DEI, affirmative action, all that shit, right? The world is so against us as men. It's like, yo, like, if I come out on top in the sense, like, not in the sense of like proving like the feminists wrong. No, I'm not talking about that. But if I come out on top, meaning like I lived the life that I wanted to live, right? If I achieved what I wanted to achieve, if I helped the people I wanted to help, and if I've done the things I wanted to do, like, yo, I won. So you know, all the challenges that come along with whatever you're building in life, whatever you're working towards, whether it's career, business, good physique, a family, right? A community, it's all gonna be worth it, because it's like, yo, everything is stacked against you, right? When it comes to building a business, when it comes to earning money, you know, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of opportunities, but it's also difficult, right? But like I said, you have one or two choices. You can either face the dragon or you can run from the dragon. A lot of guys are running from the dragon, but at the end of the day, you know, what's the point of running from the dragon if you're just gonna, you might as well be dead. You know, I'm not trying to say promote suicide here, but if you're gonna just sit there and smoke weed and like, I'd rather just kill myself. Like, if I'm not gonna try, like really, like, you gotta think about it. If you're not gonna try, I'm not trying to promote suicide, but like, what is the point of being alive? If you're not gonna like aim for more and like go through trials and tribulations, it's like, yo, we're heroes in a movie. And it's like, if you're like, you literally get to decide every single day, am I gonna be a hero today? Am I gonna do the work? Am I gonna overcome the odds, right? So that's the angle that you can take it from, right? And I think with that mindset, with that framework, I think a lot of you guys will see success. And like I said, I'm not saying things are ever going to be easier, right? But like I said, if you can do the things you wanted to do, if you can achieve the things you wanted, if you can help the people that, you know, you wanted to help, I think that's a W, right? So yeah, guys, that's it. That's all. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. As always, I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.